Alright guys, I just installed the HyperLung kit on my 2024 Polaris Boost. I couldn't find any great instructions, and I figured I'd try and help you guys out by just kind of figuring it out myself and recording it the entire time. This is that. I've ridden the sled. I'm just here to tell you, this thing's insane. It's a whole new animal. Just so you guys know, I custom made this 24 Boost 146. So in these videos that you're going to see at the end of this, don't really compare like the wheelie factor to your 155 Boost. My goal is to get a 155 on this setup, so that way I understand the actual difference. I can compare it to my 155 Boost. But I am here to tell you that without a doubt, hands down, this snowmobile blows it out of the water what it was before I installed the stage 2 clutch kit and the HyperLung kit. So take that into consideration when you see the after videos with the kit installed. Other than that, this kit is actually really easy to install. If you have all the correct tools, then it should take you roughly 2 to 3 hours. ForceTurbos considers it a 4 out of 10 as far as difficulty to install. I'd agree with that. It's very cut and dry, simple. Hopefully this video helps you guys. Subscribe if you want to see this kind of content, or even better, just simple riding content. Step 1 on installing the HyperLung kit: remove all your panels. Take your hood off, both your side panels. Take this upper shielding off. Take your seat off, then your gas tank, and then from there you'll have access to everything that you need. Next step on the HyperLung kit, we are drilling these holes. This is a 5/16 bit. We're going to drill those out. As soon as they're drilled out, I'm going to use the shop vac and take this guy off and clean that out. But 5/16 bit, drill these 2 holes out. There you go, got that in place. It seems like there's not a super good seal here. Might try to figure something out there a little bit later. I don't know if it's that important, but 5/16 holes drilled, cleaned out. Those are pretty snug, but I'd prefer they're snug than loose and flopping around. All right, so right here, after drilling those 2 holes and mounting that box, I went ahead and fitted every single piece where I think that it should go. And then I just took a Sharpie, traced the outline right there. Hopefully you can see it. So that way I know exactly where the outside of my hole is. And then from there, I'm going to take this guy apart and use a 2.5 inch hole saw and get this guy set in. I went ahead and covered both ports inside of there with a rag, and then I've got the shop vac handy. I'm going to suck all the material out as soon as this is drilled. In order to get the hole saw in there, you can see my perfect hole. I got the top edge marked with a Sharpie. In order to get the hole saw in there though, I had to take the 2 bolts out of the oil tank. T40. 2 bolts T40 to remove the oil tank. The lines keep it in place right here, so just moved it out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the vacuum on. I got it set in here where I need it. And then, yeah, we're gonna drill away. Just like that, it is so sketchy drilling into things that should not have holes in them. All right, moment of truth. Will it fit? Oh, yeah. Cool. Beauty. Once again, guys, 2.5 inch hole saw. Now that we've got everything kind of fit together, and that lines up great, I'm going to go ahead and mark these holes and get these drilled out. Got my little helper in the shop. What's up, buddy? Love you. Boom. All right, over here, we have this installed. Once again, 2.5 inch hole saw, 1/4 inch drill bit for all those 4 holes. drilled out the center, got the pipe in place, marked all the 4 holes. As you can see, that one was kind of tricky to get to, but we got it. And then I went ahead and put the welded brackets on the inside. Here on the inside, we got those brackets in there. That way, in case the nuts ever did fall off, that they wouldn't go inside my engine, of course. All right, quick tip about these reed box screws. They are extremely soft. T25, extremely soft. Put a lot of weight into them and get them out really quick. And then on top of that, just so you guys know, when you put this block off plate in, these screws are too long. The plastic has caps that they used to not go through, but when you screw these in, you're gonna break out the end of that cap. So screw them all the way in, break out the end of the cap, and make sure you clean all that plastic out of there. You don't want to suck that into your motor. Here's those plastic end caps that you're gonna break out of there. Make sure that you take them out. Next up, we are going to assemble the whole thing. We're gonna put the reed block off plate in. Here's the reeds that we took out. A big portion of this kit is actually removing this because these take up a lot of space in the airbox that is needed for these engines. So you completely remove this. We're gonna go ahead and put the block off plate in there, of course. Don't forget your rags in there. Block off plate, got all the bolts here for that, and then we'll assemble. Reed plate is in. Once again, this is super important. Don't forget to put those screws all the way in and take these plastic caps out. And then reinstall. We double, triple, quadruple vacuumed inside the airbox for all the plastic shavings from all these holes here. I got everything in place, tight. I'm just kind of assuming this is in the correct spot. Obviously we have loose points where we can rotate. Again, everything's tight. Once again, this is a 5/16 drill bit. Put those in, they're extremely snug. This one I was able to push in. This one I actually had to kind of tap in with the tool. Just to give you an idea of how tight those are. 90-degree elbow, and then of course the boot. There are 2 different types of exhausts that ForceTurbos makes. I prefer quieter cans, so I went with this guy. I do believe the other one would give you much more airflow, but this can has been awesome. I've ran it for over a year now. No complaints, guys. All right, so here's a couple of pointers too that I wish that I would have known when I put this kit together. So when you're drilling out this 2.5-inch hole for the cold air intake, make sure, so this plastic pop rivet in there that holds this panel in the correct location, I left that rivet in place. And so when I set this panel on top of the cold air intake and drew on the bottom of it to put that hole in the correct spot, just know that this rivet, if you leave it in there, it's going to hold this panel out a little bit, and it's going to look like it's in place because these holes line up and everything's just kind of loose. But that caused me to drill this hole off center a little bit. At the end of the day, it's not going to matter, but I just figured I'd let you guys know so that you don't make the same mistake. All right, everything is officially cut out, put in place right where it needs to be. As you can see, I got this hole cut. Once again, 2.5-inch hole saw, same as the airbox. This is just, sitting here right now. I just wanted to make sure that hole was going to be in the correct spot. I went ahead and lined up the bolt holes right here, made sure that this thing was in the correct spot. And then again, I took a Sharpie to trace that circle here. But just so you guys know, this flange on this cold air intake is bigger than 2.5 inches. So when you mark the bottom of this with a Sharpie, you actually have to move the edge of your hole saw in about 1/4 inch. So that way it's center. This thing just sits underneath the panel. Once all the plastics are put together, this shouldn't move at all, and this should just stay lined up. And just like that, the snowmobile is back together. Got the gas tank back on, got the seat on, got the plastics all put together. I made sure to put Loctite on every single bolt, and of course tighten them pretty good with those, and then of course go back over with a ratchet, and then everything. I gave the whole sled a once over, because why not when you have every panel off. I'm actually really glad that I did, because both of these bolts going from that pillar down to my subframe were missing. Here's another tip for those of you putting this kit on. That plate with the 4 bolts back there going into the airbox is curved, and sometimes right here, that upper edge doesn't look like it has a perfect seal. This is just aluminum, so you can take like a chisel and just set it on there and lightly tap it with a hammer, and that'll get the gasket sealed properly on the airbox. That's something that ForceTurbos kind of let me know might be the case. Just a little inconsistency there, but honestly it wasn't bad. I went ahead and did it just for the sake of it, but I don't think it would have leaked regardless. And this is the final piece to the puzzle. The frog skin covers that hole so it looks nice and pretty, and that way snow doesn't build up inside of that hole. Right now I am installing the stage 2 clutch kit, secondary clutch here. This is the brand new purple spring from Bikeman. This clutch kit comes with 2 nylon washers, as you see here. These go underneath the zinc plated cup here. And then, of course, just install everything else. I went ahead and replaced the rollers. Those are super simple. Just pop that circlip off, throw the roller on, throw the washer back on, circlip back on. The information is different for everyone. They actually send really good instructions on this. But for those of you who want to know, I run 4,000 feet to about 7,000 feet of elevation here at home. The sniper weight kits, I'm running a 3-3-2. 2 right here on the very tip, 3 and 3 center, and right next to the ring there. As far as these weights go, I'm running the small set screw and then the tall set screw. Looks like this blue primary spring is recommended for almost every elevation on the Polaris Boost. Then of course with the Helix, now that this is ready to go on for my elevation, again 4,000 or 5,000 to about 7,000. It says to run it on B. You line up the rollers inside of the B channel. All right, guys, I do not know how to explain this snowmobile. It's like it can fully breathe now. There's 0 lag, 0 hiccups, zero anything. It just screams. So here you are. remind you guys, this snowmobile is 100% not tuned, running on 91 non-F. It's a clutch kit and the HyperLung. That's it. Wow. Wow! Wow! Holy shit, this sled is a lot.